and thank you for watching. I am making bone broth today, and in this pot, it's a 16-quart pot, there is 5 pounds of chicken legs. Normally I would use chicken paws or chicken feet along with chicken legs, but the idea of the chicken paws just devastates my husband. He doesn't like the idea. And we're feeling just a little bit under the weather, so gonna make some bone broth. And I'm going to be adding some other ingredients. I put 2 handfuls of carrots. That's about a half a pound of carrots. Put 1 parsnip in there. That looks like a white carrot if you're wondering what that is. And I didn't peel it or anything because this is all going to get strained. I've added a whole onion. That was a large yellow onion. I just peeled it and sliced it into 4 quarters and broke it apart. Add the juice of 2 lemons. You can see the seeds. Don't worry about that. Like I said, all of this is going to be poured through a strainer. I've added a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of pink salt, doesn't matter what kind of salt, just a teaspoon, and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I added more water and I left 2 inches of headspace at the top. I'm going to bring this to a boil, then I'm going to cover it. I'm going to put it in the oven for about 8 hours on 200. I had to remove the oven racks. There's only one in there. It's on the very bottom in order to get the pot in the oven because it is a 16-quart pot, so it's kind of tall. So here we go, 12 hours later, this is what we have. And now it's time to add Nor caldo de pollo because it needs some salt, and this is a great source of salt, and it'll also have some other seasonings in it that are going to make this taste divine. So I added 20 teaspoons of the Nor caldo de pollo, okay? It could maybe use a little more, but I just want to put a base level of salt, and then that way it doesn't get too salty, and salt can be added to individual portions to taste. So this is what we have, and it's time to pour this through a strainer. 47 cups of bone broth. There's plenty to share with friends. There's plenty to have for yourself. I just drink it like coffee. You can also use it to make chicken noodle soup or any other kind of soup that you want. Vegetable soup, doesn't matter. And there it is. Thank you for watching. These 1-quart bags are excellent for freezing, and I've filled each of them half full, and I have about 14 bags here. And so I'll put these in the freezer. I'll lay them flat. I had to bring it to room temperature first, and so I just set the broth out at room temperature and stirred it occasionally every 10 minutes or 15 minutes to get it to cool down so that I could put it in these baggies. So I'll lay them flat and I'll put them in the freezer, and then when I want to drink one, I will just put it in a saucepan and heat it up, and I'll have my bone broth. This can also be used to make chicken soup, or like I said, anything that calls for chicken broth. It can be used. So I thank you for watching and have a great day. So I deboned the chicken legs, and so what's here is the chicken and the skin and the carrots. And I'm just going to set this out for the animals tonight. The critters, raccoons, possums, whoever wants it. These poor little critters, they have to eat too. So if I wanted to make chicken soup, I would just cook more chicken, and I would set it aside, and I would just add it to each individual serving at the time of serving, because this chicken cooked for a really long time, and so the texture is really not great. It's perfect for the local critters and animals or whatever, but it doesn't really taste good. Like I said, it's just a texture thing. So I would even get a rotisserie chicken and just tear it off and put it in my chicken soup. So that's what I prefer. You could use this chicken for other purposes. You know, like you could probably make dog food with it or whatever. The only thing about that is this broth was cooked with onions, and onions are not really ideal for dogs, and so I picked the onions out. But, you know, some of the flavoring from the onion might not be good for a dog, but might be fine for other pets.